Welcome to Lento English. Ready to level up your English? Here we learn through stories, slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey.
1. Introduction. The city of New York woke up to a very big surprise. People called it a political earthquake. A local election for mayor had finished, and the result was unexpected. This happened in New York City. The nation was in its second term with Donald Trump as president. The country had a leader who was very different from many people in New York. New York City is a large place with many different people and ideas. Politically, it often goes in a different direction than the rest of the country. This election showed that difference clearly. The main figures in this election were two men. One was Zohran Mamdani. He was not very well known before this. He was younger and had new ideas. He ran a campaign that focused on people and small donations. His win was a shock to many. The other man was Andrew Cuomo. He was very famous. He was the former governor of New York State. Many people thought he would win easily because he had a lot of money and was well known, but he lost to Mamdani. Mamdani's victory was a big moment. It showed that a less famous person with a different kind of campaign could win against a powerful, well-known figure. It was a win for progressive ideas in the city. This result felt important. It was a local race, but it had a bigger meaning. It showed a change in the city's politics. It also highlighted the difference between the political path of New York City and the political path of the country under President Trump. The city was moving in a more progressive direction. The nation, with its current president, was often seen as more conservative. This election result was a clear sign of that contrast. It made many people think about the future of the city and its place in the country. 2. Who is the new man? Zohran Mamdani was born in Kampala, Uganda. He lived there during his early childhood. When he was 7 years old, he moved to New York City with his family. His parents were important people in their jobs. His father, Mahmoud Mamdani, is an Indian-Ugandan man. He is a professor at Columbia University. His mother, Myra Nair, is an Indian-American woman. She is a filmmaker. Zohran's father gave him the middle name Kwame for Kwame Nkrumah. Zohran went to public schools in New York City. He studied at the Bronx High School of Science. Then he went to Bowdoin College. He got a degree in Africana Studies there. Later, in 2018, he became an American citizen. Before he was elected to office, Zohran worked to help people keep their homes. He was a housing counselor. He helped low-income homeowners, many of them people of color in Queens. He helped them fight against banks to stop evictions from their homes. This job showed him the big problems people faced. He saw that banks cared more about making money than helping families. He realized that the housing problems were not just difficult situations. They were the result of policies that helped big companies for many years. This experience was very important. It made him decide to run for office so he could work for change in the system. Zohran also learned a lot from organizing people. In high school, he helped start the school's first cricket team. This showed him how people working together can make things happen. In college, he helped start a student group. Later, he worked with different progressive groups around the country. These groups work to win elections and improve things like health care for people. These activities taught him how to take action when he saw problems in the world. instead of feeling sad or hopeless. Before running for mayor, Zohran was a New York State Assembly member. He represented neighborhoods like Astoria, Dittmer Steinway, and Astoria Heights in Queens. He is the first South Asian man and the first Ugandan to be in the assembly. He is also the third Muslim member ever. He believes that everyone in New York should live a good life with dignity. He fights for a future where important things like housing, energy, and justice are available to many people, not just a few. His life experiences and his work helping people shaped his political ideas and his goal to help the city and its people. 3. The big contest. The race for the Democratic candidate for mayor was a big contest. On one side was Andrew Cuomo. He was a well-known politician. He was the former governor of New York State. He had a lot of experience and a lot of money for his campaign. People expected him to win easily. On the other side was Zohran Mamdani. He was not as famous. He did not have as much money. But he had a different kind of campaign. It was a grassroots campaign. This means it started with regular people. Mamdani's campaign had many volunteers. These people gave their time to help. They knocked on doors to talk to voters. They made phone calls. They organized small meetings in neighborhoods. The campaign got money from many small donations from many people. This was different from getting big money from rich people or large companies. Andrew Cuomo's campaign was more traditional. It had a lot of money to pay for advertisements on television and online. He had support from powerful groups. It was a campaign run by the political establishment. But Mamdani also had important support. Some progressive politicians helped him. One important person was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She is a well-known member of Congress. She also won her election in a similar way, with a grassroots campaign against a powerful opponent. Her support showed that Mamdani's campaign was part of a new movement in the Democratic Party. The difference between the two campaigns was clear. It was like a fight between organized people and organized money. Mamdani's campaign believed that many people working together could be stronger than a lot of money. This election was not just about one job in one city. It showed bigger changes happening in the Democratic Party across the country. Many voters, especially younger ones, want new leaders and new ideas. They are tired of the old ways. They want politicians who are closer to the people and who fight for big changes like better housing and help for working families. The contest in New York was a sign. It showed that voters are looking for something different. It was a test to see if a grassroots campaign, powered by volunteers and small donations, could defeat a campaign with a lot of money and support from the establishment. This race was important for the city, but it also had a message for the whole country about the future of the Democratic Party. 4. The winning night. Election night arrived. People across New York City waited for the results of the important primary election. It was a night that would bring a big surprise. As the numbers started coming in, Zohran Mamdani was winning. This was not what most political experts expected. He was ahead of Andrew Cuomo, a very famous politician who had been governor. With 93% of the votes counted, Mamdani had more than 43.5% of the vote. His main opponent, Cuomo, had 36.4%. This difference showed that Mamdani had a strong lead. His supporters were overjoyed. They gathered at a party to celebrate. The room was full of energy, shouting, and happiness. People cheered loudly, shouting, "On to victory!" Many hugged and smiled, proud of their work for the campaign. Late that night, Zohran Mamdani spoke to the excited crowd. He said clearly that he had won the primary election. He told his supporters, "I will be your Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City." He spoke about his plans and his vision for the city. He talked about bringing a new kind of politics. He called it a politics of the future. He promised it would be based on working together, being sincere, and following important principles. Andrew Cuomo also spoke to his supporters after the results were clear. He said he lost the election. He told his people that night belonged to Mamdani. Cuomo said Mamdani deserved to win and that he had won fair and square. Accepting the loss was a difficult moment for the former governor. News of Mamdani's victory quickly became the main topic. Political experts were stunned. They called the result a political earthquake. One expert said it was the biggest surprise in the city's modern history. Another person called it a very important moment in political history. They talked about it as a changing of the guard, suggesting that a new generation of leaders was coming. They noted that younger Democratic voters had played a big part. Leaders from other parts of the country sent messages of congratulations. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a well-known progressive leader, congratulated Mamdani. She wrote that his hard work for working families had inspired people. She pointed out that rich people and lobbyists had spent millions against him, but he still won. Bernie Sanders, a senator, also congratulated Mamdani's thousands of grassroots supporters. He said they took on the political and money establishment and won. Brad Lander, another politician who had supported Mamdani, said that hope and working together had won that night and would win again in the future. Not everyone reacted positively. Some news outlets in the city had warned voters about Mamdani before the election. After he won, one conservative newspaper used a headline that showed serious worry. It asked who would save the city after a radical socialist won the Democratic primary. But for many, especially those who worked on Mamdani's campaign, the win showed that ordinary people organizing together could beat candidates with more money and famous names. It was seen as a sign that many voters in New York City were ready for a new direction and different leaders. This night marked a big change. 5. A city with two sides. After Zohran Mamdani won the primary election, people looked closely at the results. The voting showed that New York City has different parts with different ideas. It was like seeing a city with two sides, maybe more. In some areas, many people voted for Mamdani. These were places like parts of Upper and Lower Manhattan. Also, neighborhoods in Brooklyn, like Williamsburg, showed strong support for him. These areas often have many young people and people with progressive political views. But in other parts of the city, the results were different. Andrew Cuomo received more votes in wealthier areas. For example, the Upper East Side and Upper West Side in Manhattan voted more for him. Areas on the outer edges of Brooklyn and Queens also showed more support for the former governor. This difference in voting showed a clear divide among the city's people and neighborhoods. During the time of the campaign, Mamdani faced criticism. Some people did not agree with his ideas or his political background. One criticism was about language he used, which some people found offensive. A religious leader spoke out, saying Mamdani should be careful with his words and think about the safety of New Yorkers. Other critics said Mamdani did not have enough experience to be mayor of a big city. They called some of his ideas radical, meaning they were very different from usual ideas. One newspaper even printed a headline asking who would save the city after a radical socialist won. These criticisms and the different voting patterns show the challenge ahead. New York City is home to many different people with many different opinions about how the city should be run. Leading a city with such different sides will be a difficult job for the new candidate. 6. The next step. After the primary election, the work was not finished. Zohran Mamdani had won the first big race, but the next step was the general election in November. This election was different. It was for the job of mayor of New York City. In the general election, Mamdani would face a new main opponent. This person was the current mayor, Eric Adams. Eric Adams did not run in the same primary election. He decided to run for mayor as an independent candidate in November. This meant he was not running as a Democrat or a Republican. He was running by himself. So, a new political race began. Mamdani's campaign, with its many supporters, started to get ready for November. This election would have different challenges than the primary against Andrew Cuomo. Eric Adams was the current mayor, and he was well known in the city. The two candidates, Mamdani and Adams, started to talk about each other in public. Eric Adams spoke about Mamdani after the primary win. He used strong words. Adams said Mamdani was like a salesman who was not honest. He said Mamdani promised things just to win votes. Adams also talked about Mamdani's ideas like raising taxes for rich people. Adams said these ideas were not possible to do. Mamdani and his team also got ready to answer these points. His campaign had shown it could bring many people together. They had many volunteers helping. They believed they could win the general election too. This new campaign was a fight for the future of New York City. Mamdani and Adams had very different ideas about how the city should work. The time between the primary election and the November election was important. Both sides prepared for the final vote. The race for mayor was not over. 7. Ideas for the future. The election is about different ideas for the future of New York City. The candidates have different plans for leading the city. Zohran Mamdani has shared his ideas for changing things. Mamdani's ideas focus on important needs for people. One main idea is housing. He believes everyone should have a safe and affordable home. He worked before helping people who were losing their homes. He thinks the problems with housing are because of choices made in the past that put profits before people. He wants things like housing and energy to help many people, not just a few rich ones. He also talks about green energy, which is clean power that does not hurt the environment. Another key idea is social justice. This means making sure everyone is treated fairly and has a good life. He wants to help people and groups who have not had much power before. He aims for a future where every New Yorker lives with dignity. He wants to change the system to make this happen, but other people see things differently. They look at Mamdani's ideas and worry about them. Some people say he does not have enough experience for a big job like mayor. They think his ideas are too new or too different for New York. Some people call his ideas radical or extreme. Opponents say his plans might not work well for the city or its economy. They worry about his promises, like raising taxes for rich people. Some people think he says things just to get votes and cannot do what he promises if he wins. One person called him a snake oil salesman who sells ideas that will not work. There are worries from different groups that his ideas could be bad for the city's future and its safety. These different ideas show that this election is very important for New York City. It is a big choice for the people living here. The result will help decide what kind of city it will be in the future. Will it follow new ideas and make big changes, or will it stay more the same? This election is seen as a fight for the city's identity. The stakes are high. The outcome will show where the city is going next and how it sees itself on the national stage. 8. A lesson for the country. The election in New York City was not just important for the city, it was also a lesson for the rest of the country. This local race showed many things about politics in America today. First, it showed the power of people working together. The new candidate did not have a lot of money like his opponent, but many people helped him. They volunteered their time and gave small amounts of money. This grassroots effort helped him win. It proved that organizing people can be stronger than having a lot of money. The election also showed the power of a new generation of voters. Many young people voted in this primary. They often have different ideas about the future. They want changes in areas like housing, energy, and social fairness. Their votes helped bring a new kind of leader to the front. There was also a clear difference between New York City and the national government at that time. The city chose a progressive candidate with new ideas. The national government had a different leader with different ideas. This showed a big split in the country. Different places wanted different things for their future. The fight for mayor in New York City was a picture of a bigger fight happening across America. It was about which ideas should lead the country. It was about who should have power. It was about the future of cities and the nation. This election was a moment that made people think. It showed that change is possible, even against powerful people and big money. It highlighted the different paths America could take. The story of this New York election is part of the larger, ongoing story of America and its future.